Hello, friends. Welcome to the Spoken Word. This is Poetry with a Purpose. We are in Jonah today, of all places, so let's just jump right on in and see where it goes today. From inside the fish, Jonah prayed to the Lord his God. He said, "In my distress I called to the Lord, and he answered me. From the depths of the grave I called for help, and you listened to my cry." Jonah 2, verses 1 and 2. This is the depths of the grave. So far down and so far away, the grave is thrown open, and I'm at its gates now today. Life literally lost, this big fish having won, no longer a prophet or even becoming a son. And yet I cried out to you, hoping against fear that you'd still hear me and somehow be near. And then in this dark place I see a shimmer of light, and death no longer has me, and it's no longer night. And so delivered I am, although I don't know why, for I was so certain that I surely would die. But your mercy has prevailed and taken firm hold of me, and in the depths of your love I'm completely now free. Whew. Man, Jonah rolled the roller coaster, man. Man, this is Jonah. There's so many great lessons in Jonah, man. So many great lessons in Jonah. And he's writing this from inside the fish, not knowing whether he's going to live or die. He was trusting the Lord, but I mean, he didn't know he was going to be in the fish for 3 days and 3 nights. He had no idea. Can you imagine? I mean, heavy, heavy stuff. So let's go ahead and break this down like we always like to. From inside the fish, Jonah prayed to the Lord his God. He said, "In my distress, I called to the Lord, and he answered me. From the depths of the grave, I called for help, and you listened to my cry." Jonah 2, 1 and 2. The depths of the grave. So far down and so far away. He's in a fish. He is way down, far away as he can be, under the sea in a fish. The grave is thrown open, and I'm at its gates now today. I mean, he's at the gate of death. He figures it's over. But again, he still had hope. It's amazing. And I just used one verse out of about a half dozen verses. So just really good stuff here. Life literally lost, this big fish having won. Can you imagine? They threw him off. Have you really thought about Jonah? The sea was tossing and was going completely crazy. And the more they tried to row back, the more they threw the tackle over. They said the sea became even more crazy. And so they throw Jonah out into the crazy sea, and it becomes calm, and Jonah's going, "Wow, that's cool." It became calm, and he looks behind him, and this big whale, I guess it was a whale that swallowed him, whale comes and gets him. Can you imagine the terror of seeing this thing coming at you? Life literally lost, this big fish having won, no longer a prophet or becoming a son. And it's like, well, I'm going into the fish. I'm no longer a prophet, and no longer close to God like a son would be. And yet I cried out to you, hoping against fear that you'd still hear me and somehow be near. He, even in the midst of this terror and everything he was going through, he still had presence enough of mind to pray and cry out to God, hoping against fear, hoping against hope. And he still continued to hope. Now that's a hope. That's a good hope there. Hoping against hope. And then in this dark place, I see a shimmer of light, and death no longer has me, and it's no longer night. Just the presence of God, the shimmer of his presence, the presence, the light. I don't know whether God interacted with him inside the fish in a supernatural way that he knew he was going to live, but it's a beautiful thought. And so delivered I am, although I don't know why, for I was so certain that I surely would die. I mean, he's crying out, but again, it's hope against hope here. And it just good stuff. Just good stuff. But your mercy has prevailed and taken firm hold of me. And in the depths of your love, I'm completely now free. It's always about his love. The depths of his love. His love is so rich and so deep and so perfect and so wonderful. And even though you're in disobedience to God, and Jonah was in hardcore disobedience to God, God said to go to Nineveh. And I've looked at the map, and you can see in the ancient map, you can see in your Bible, or you can look online, you can see an ancient map. He was supposed to go to Nineveh, which was I think it's the Mediterranean Sea, and he got a boat that was going to Tarshish. And if you check the map out, Tarshish is as far away from Nineveh that you can sail in the Mediterranean Sea. He was going as far away as he could. He wasn't just disobeying a little bit. He was going as far away from this command of God as he could. And yet God heard him in the fish. And then God took the fish and delivered him to Nineveh, and he accomplished his mission even though he hated the Ninevites. And that's right there in Jonah. Oh God, this is why I didn't want to come, because I knew you'd be merciful. He wanted them people to die. He hated those people. And God still used this guy. Man, that's why I love the Bible so much. God uses a bunch of squirrels. There's a lot of squirrely people in the Bible that God uses. So you look at yourself in the mirror and go, man, I'm a squirrel. You know, you hear that thing, squirrel. You're like a dog, squirrel. You know, I'm not calling you a dog, by the way. But I've always felt squirrely. I've always lived by, if I'm out of my mind, it's for the sake of God. I'm in my right mind. It's for your sake, 2 Corinthians 5:13, I think. And crazy people serving Jesus. That's why the ministry is Village Idiots for Christ, Nuts for Jesus, and Just Plain Nuts. I've always felt nuts. I've always felt different. I've always felt strange. I've always felt out of place. You know, I had two really cool brothers, and I never felt cool. You know, my youngest brother was dating 3 years before I was. My younger brother. Man, but you know what? In the midst of all of that mess of our lives, in the midst of all of the doubt, in the midst of even sometimes disobedience to God, he's still waiting for us to figure it out and to cry out. He was waiting out Jonah. He was waiting out Jonah while Jonah was in a big fish. There's so many cool facets to this. So many. So, anyway, it's the depths of the grave, man. No matter where you find yourself, if you're at death's door, if you're about to be eaten by a bear or a lion, cry out to God. Don't give up. Don't quit. Just cry out to him. And he's merciful, and he loves us, and he's always striving for us. Our pastor just taught us about God striving with, after Noah, God, giving them 120 more years. You know, we've been talking a lot about all the crazy stuff in the world, how God is putting up with so much right now. There's so many bad things happening in the world right now. Yet God is still striving with man. He still loves the unlovable. Ezekiel says he takes no pleasure in the death of the wicked, but rather they would turn. He wants them all. He's only getting a few, but he wants them all. And that included Jonah. Have a blessed day. Love you. Can't get enough of you. Appreciate you.